Luke chapter 12, verse 48. But he that knew not, and did commit things worthy of stripes, shall be beaten with few stripes. For unto whomsoever much is given, of him shall be much required. And to whom men have committed much, of him they will ask the more. Call Allah, Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushai, Ba'ashim Rakakadash. Shalom to the elect and the remnant of the children of Israel. My name is Brother Daniel Allah from the province of Babylon. Double honors to the teachers and the head apostles of the great millstone of Ruel. Peace and salutations to the Alchemy pushing out this work in truth and sincerity. Also, barakatah to the Aqua for our listening as well. For unto whomsoever much is given, of him shall be much required. So, this topic popped in my head. You know, on like during the weekend, like this topic of standards, and I remember a year ago, about a year ago, I was working at a restaurant, and I was going through some afflictions of different kinds, mainly my back, and I remember the man who hired me, he said, "Come here, let's step outside," So we stepped outside, and we were talking, I'm saying, man to man, So like just like constructive criticism, and he was explaining how that the restaurant has standards, and he noticed I was good at the beginning, but sooner or later I gotten worse throughout the time, and what he was explaining to me about standards was, for example, the customer walks in. The customer walks in, all in their mind is that they're about to get lunch or dinner from the restaurant. Like, they don't care about anything else, and they know it comes out at a certain time, and he was like, during the interview, I showed you what foods come out a certain time limit. Certain foods come out in 3 minutes, certain foods come out at 5, some foods come out 15, 20 minutes. And he said there are standards. Now, the people out there, they don't know what's going on with your life. They don't know what's going on with you. And they don't know what kind of bodily injury you're going through. They don't know what you're going through. All they care about is when they're going to get their food. And is it going to be on time? And I was like, you're correct. He said, yes, of course. Everybody has standards, but when you can't meet up that standard, then you're pretty much obsolete in a way, because if you can't meet up with the standard, then you might end up being moved to a different position, or they might terminate you. Same thing in this truth. When the Lord mentioned, "For many are called, and few are chosen," that He gave us a standard, what to do and what not to do, and what are those standards, man? Like keeping the commandments, being an upright man in a wicked generation, fighting the good fight of faith, growing the grace thereof, feeding the sheep. That is a standard. One of the main standards is feeding the sheep. The sheep don't know what you're going through. The sheep don't know what kind of lifestyle that you have. Like, they don't know what kind of afflictions you are going through. But no matter what, they're seeking answers. They're seeking prophecy. What can they do to better their salvation? Through you. That's all they're thinking about in their head while you're going through the hell that you're going through. But at the same time, you have to meet the standards of what the Lord has shown you. You know, Ecclesiastes 12 and 13, you know, like for example, like the verse says, let's grab it real quick so I won't butcher it, because the Lord has standards as well. So Ecclesiastes 12:13 says, "Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear the Most High and keep His commandments, for this is the whole duty of man." And that's a standard, you know, that He wants you to fear Him and to keep the commandments, you know, and you have to teach that as well, because that's the beginning of wisdom. So, like back to the conversation with, like the manager and me, he said, no matter what you're going through, you got to meet up with the standard. You know, put the feelings and emotions to the side, all your problems to the side, and meet up with the standard that the restaurant like promises the guest or customer. And I was like, I understand. He said, but if you can't do that, if it gets to the point where you're not able to do that, then, you know, we might move you to a different position, or you might have to put in your 2 weeks, because we don't want to fire you, you know. And I was like, okay, no problem, you know. So, but with the Lord, if you don't meet up with the standards with the Lord, He could end up firing you. Now He is merciful. He is, you know, He is reasonable. But when He puts you in a very important position, which is being a watchman of Israel, being a teacher, being a man, being a man of the Lord. He put you in a very high, he put you in a very high position within Israel by being a watchman. You know, setting up standards of what you have to do, and you have to feed the sheep. So let me grab standards real quick. It's not gonna be long, man. So the surface level word of standards, or standard, is a level of quality or attainment. All right. Second meaning, an idea or thing used as a measure, norm, or model in comparative evaluations. So quality, level, grade, degree, worth, you know, excellence. You know, people want their food and at a quality level, not quantity. You know, people come for the food because of the quality. You know, now if you don't want a really good pizza, you go to a cheap place like CC's Pizza or something. You know, if you don't know what that is, it's a cheap pizzeria that you eat cardboard pizzas. Not I'm joking. It's not really cardboard pizzas, man, but it's nasty. It's like Chuck E. Cheese pizza, I believe, and you pay cheap for it, and you have a buffet with it, versus a New York pizzeria down the street. You know, that's quality over quantity. You know, and it said, what do they mean about standards? It says something established by authority, custom, or general consent as a model, example, or point of reference. You know, and there's different examples, like of personal standards, like mastery, self-discipline, work ethic, work-life balance, work quality, social comparison. You know, there's all kinds of standards. Everyone in this world should have standards. If you don't have standards, then this place is gonna walk all over you, man. You know, but certain places like companies or restaurants have standards, and you have to meet those standards. And if you can't perform those standards, then you will be removed by somebody who will meet up with those standards. And same thing in this truth, we had to meet up with a standard, the Lord's standards, by fearing Him, by keeping the commandments and feeding His sheep. All right, and also fasting, praying, and like anything to increase through the Spirit, etc. So that's just the cold hard reality of things, man. If you can't meet up with the standard, someone else is gonna meet up with that standard better than you times 10. And you don't want that to happen to you. So what, man? So you have to pray that the Lord gives you the strength to go. He gives you the strength for you to go through what you're going through, so you can meet up with His standard. And then later on, He's gonna lift up a standard for you of the times that we're about to come into. All right. So I hope this class was edifying to the elect. Call Allah, Yahweh, Bashim, Yahshua, Bashim, Kakadash. Till next time, I say Shalom.